I bet you have walked past this building many times. Have you ever stopped to look at the designs implemented on and inside the building? I'm assuming you are going to say no, as I was the same way. Once you take a second and just observe the building, you will realize the beautiful architectural design surrounding it. Don't worry, as I am here to give you the background on the architecture of Blegen Hall. Blegen Hall was built in 1930 and was originally called Old Main Library. The name was changed on October 2, 1979 and was called Carl Blegen Library. It is home to the Archives and Rare Books Department, Department of Classics, Modern Greek Collection, and more. The architecture of Blegen Hall was designed in a manner which had its decorative features reflect the knowledge contained within its walls. As we researched, we found out that the building reflects its core power, knowledge. The symbols illustrate the idea that the heritage of knowledge is to be built upon and carried forward to each generation. The symbolic elements of this building's architecture emphasizes this through its artwork on and in the building. Above the entrance of the library reads, "The University Library, dedicated to the advancement of learning."
We can see and understand that all man-made buildings, whether as humble as a hut or as imposing as a palace, must stand upon the double foundation of function and symbolism. The stonework on the front of Blegen Library is outstanding and portrays modern civilization as the product of Eastern and Western wisdom. There are 2 panels on the front of the building that paint that picture. The panel on the right side portrays Eastern culture, painting the picture of the contributors. This includes Sargon the Great, Cheops, Hammurabi, Moses, Darius the Great, Confucius, Buddha, Jesus, and Justinian. Underneath, the words Ex Oriente Lux are carved. This means light from the east. On the left side of the building is a panel that contains Euclid, Homer, Phidias, Plato, Herodotus, Shakespeare, Goethe, Galileo, and Dante. Underneath reads Ex Occidente Lux, which means light from the west. Wisdom is also conveyed above the transom, which is a large grille showing the different symbols of wisdom. It is Minerva, the goddess of wisdom, surrounded by sunbursts, a dolphin, a rose, key of knowledge, 5-pointed stars of human wisdom, and 6-pointed stars of divine wisdom. Below these symbols is a group of bas reliefs over red Verona marble, which illustrates such themes as oral tradition, cuneiform writing, medieval inscription, and writing on papyrus.
Education and wisdom is also portrayed through this architecture by the large chandeliers inside the building. They continue the idea that wisdom is light. Each of these chandeliers contain a bronze silhouette of a learning proverb in a foreign language. Inside the front doorway hangs a chandelier with a Japanese proverb. It reads, "There are no age limits to learning. Anyone can learn anything as he studies it 100 times. Another hangs in the center of the lobby with a proverb in Egyptian hieroglyphics. It reads, "Be not proud because of thy knowledge, be not puffed up because of thy manual skill. No art can be wholly mastered, no man can attain perfection in manual skill." Other chandeliers are found inside the building with different proverbs in Hebrew, Latin, Greek, and Chinese. Through the art of the printed word, man has increased his fund of knowledge and education. Another predominant element in this architecture is the contribution of writing and printing. There are 6 panels that honor the great printers. There is also a panel showing Benjamin Franklin with William Caxton, the first English printer bending over his press. Printing was developed in the 15th century, and printers' devices were used as personal emblems to identify the work of an individual printer. As we sat outside of Blegen Hall, it was interesting. We sat out there on a Sunday morning, a Monday afternoon, and a Tuesday night. Here is the graph compiled of what we observed. As you can see, Sunday morning it seemed quite slow. We figured it was because most people did not have class. About 20 people walked by. Out of those 20 people, 10 entered the building. However, 0 people stopped to observe its architecture. On Monday afternoon, it was quite busy. 57 people had walked by the building. Out of those 57 people, 29 had entered the building, and only 2 people stopped to observe. On Tuesday night, it was a steady medium. 38 people walked by the building. Out of those 38 people, 25 entered the building, and only 1 person stopped to observe it.
How well the hall can convey what it's dedicated to depends on how much of it is seen. The features of the building are unmistakable in what they mean. The virtue of passage of knowledge is on open display and even stated directly. All of the different styles blend cohesively to show their unified purpose. The building's ability to serve as a monument is great on paper. However, it is greatly limited by what people can actually see of it. While the great decorative features are visible to a passerby, they do not draw attention because of their position. Blegen Hall is in the unfortunate position of being too far off the beaten path to rely on many people's paths. as well as too close to the other buildings nearby, so that the attention of students is placed past or away from the building. On top of that, much of it is on different elevation, so it is impossible to walk a loop around it, and you can only walk beside it one way depending on where you come from. This does more than just limit which side of it people see, though. With one side of the building much lower than the other, it places some parts of the decoration mostly out of view unless you intend to look at them. Though it may be incredibly unrealistic, a suggested improvement on Blegen's visual impact would be to move the building entirely. While a central spot on campus would give it much of the missing presence and place it in plain view, that would disrupt usual university activity. Instead, the building would do better to be moved further out. While it may seem counterproductive at first, being far off to the side would mean that anyone approaching it would have plenty of time to observe and take in the details on their way there, since it is visible for the whole approach and unobstructed by other buildings. This would also get it off the incline that makes part of it lower and forces a difficult path around it. If it were off to the side, it would be level ground all around and much easier to circle. The decorations themselves do not require any improvements, as they are so numerous and clear in what they mean that if people actually regularly saw them, Blegen would perform as a monument very well.